Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the most powerful way to destroy your enemies is not through shouting, fighting, or even direct confrontation? What if I told you that the greatest warriors in history never raised a sword, yet their enemies fell before them? True power lies in strategy, not strength. History has shown time and time again that the mightiest warriors, the most successful leaders, and the wisest individuals do not rely solely on brute force to win battles. Strength, whether physical or verbal, can be loud, aggressive, and intimidating, but it is often short-lived. Strategy, on the other hand, is silent, calculated, and enduring. Those who understand the power of strategy know that true victory is not about overpowering others, but outmaneuvering them in ways they never see coming. Many people make the mistake of thinking that the strongest person is the loudest in the room, the one who fights back immediately, or the one who reacts with force. But strength alone has its limits. A physically strong person can be defeated by someone with a better plan. A loud person can be silenced by someone who knows how to use words wisely. A reactive person can be manipulated by someone who understands patience and timing. Strength may intimidate for a moment, but strategy dominates for a lifetime. The greatest military leaders, business moguls, and influential figures in history have understood this principle. They did not waste their energy fighting every battle or responding to every provocation. Instead, they observed, they planned, and they executed their moves when the time was right. They understood that being reactive is a sign of weakness, while being strategic is a sign of control. A person who can be easily provoked is a person who can be easily controlled. A person who moves without careful thought is a person who will eventually stumble. The true test of power is not in how much noise you make, but in how effectively you control the battlefield. And in life, the battlefield is not always physical. It is often mental, emotional, and spiritual. People who rely on strength alone often burn out quickly. They waste energy on unnecessary fights, leaving themselves vulnerable to the real enemy. But those who operate with wisdom and strategy conserve their energy, waiting for the perfect moment to act. When they do, their actions are precise, impactful, and irreversible. Look at the most successful individuals in any field. They are not the ones who engage in constant conflict, nor are they the ones who seek validation through displays of strength. They are the ones who think ahead, who remain composed in the face of opposition, and who strike only when necessary. They understand that power is not about showing off. It is about knowing when to move and when to remain still. In a world that glorifies instant reactions, impulsive decisions, and aggressive confrontation, those who embrace strategy will always have the upper hand. They do not waste their time proving their strength to others because they know their true power lies in their ability to think, plan, and execute with precision. It is not about how strong you are in the moment. It is about how long you can sustain your victories. Your enemies are not who you think they are. Many people spend their entire lives fighting the wrong battles, exhausting their energy on people and situations that are not the real threat. The greatest deception of conflict is believing that the person standing in front of you, opposing you, is the true enemy. But in reality, the true enemy is often hidden, operating from the shadows, influencing events without being seen. It is easy to get distracted by the loudest voices, the most obvious attacks, or the most immediate betrayals, but wisdom teaches that the real battle is much deeper than what meets the eye. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that their enemy is the person who disagrees with them, offends them, or stands in their way. However, many of these individuals are merely tools, distractions, or temporary obstacles. The real enemy is often not a person at all. It is a mindset, a weakness, or an unseen force that works behind the scenes. Pride, fear, doubt, anger, and insecurity are often greater enemies than any human opponent. These inner battles dictate how a person responds to external conflicts. If you do not conquer what is within you, you will never overcome what is outside of you. Throughout history, the most successful warriors, leaders, and visionaries have understood this truth. They did not waste time fighting battles that did not matter. They knew that the real enemy was not always the one swinging the sword, but the one pulling the strings. In life, many people are manipulated by unseen forces, whether it be their emotions, their past experiences, or even the influence of others who have their own hidden agendas. True wisdom is the ability to step back and ask, who or what is really working against me, rather than simply reacting to the first sign of opposition. Consider how much energy is wasted on meaningless fights. People argue with coworkers, family members, or even strangers, believing that these confrontations define victory. But what if the real battle is not about proving a point? What if the real enemy is the distraction that keeps you from your purpose? What if your greatest downfall is not the person speaking against you, but your own inability to ignore them and stay focused on your mission? Many wars have been lost, not because the opponent was too strong, but because the fighter was too distracted. Understanding who your true enemy is changes everything. It allows you to conserve your energy for battles that matter. It helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. It gives you clarity and wisdom in dealing with opposition. When you stop viewing people as enemies and start recognizing the deeper forces at play, you gain the power to navigate life strategically. You stop reacting to every attack, and instead you start moving with purpose. The strongest warriors are not those who fight the most, but those who fight the right battles. And the wisest among them know that sometimes the greatest victory is realizing that the person you thought was your enemy was never the real enemy at all. Silence is a weapon, not a weakness. In a world that constantly pressures people to react, to prove themselves, and to respond to every challenge, silence is often mistaken for surrender. But the truth is, silence is one of the most powerful tools in warfare. Whether in personal battles, leadership, or life itself, those who understand the power of silence know that it can disarm opponents, expose hidden truths, and create an atmosphere where the enemy self-destructs. While others waste energy on arguments, retaliation, and emotional outbursts, the wise remain composed, knowing that their silence speaks louder than words. Many people believe that victory comes from having the last word, from winning debates, or from making sure their voice is heard. But true strength is not in how much you say, it is in how much you control what you say. A person who cannot control their tongue is a person who can be easily manipulated. When you always feel the need to respond, you give power to those who provoke you. They know they can trigger you, and once they learn your weaknesses, they will use them against you. But when you remain silent, you take away their control. You force them to question themselves, to wonder about your next move, and in many cases, to defeat themselves through their own actions. Silence is also a test of patience and wisdom. It is not about avoiding confrontation, but about choosing the right moment to speak and act. Many battles are lost because people respond too quickly without thinking. They allow emotions to dictate their actions instead of strategy. Silence gives you time to assess, to plan, and to strike when the moment is right. It keeps your enemies uncertain while giving you the advantage of knowing more than they do. In contrast, those who talk too much reveal their weaknesses, their insecurities, and their strategies without realizing it. Another powerful aspect of silence is that it forces the truth to emerge. When people spread lies, attack your character, or try to manipulate situations, the natural reaction is to defend yourself. But sometimes, the best response is none at all. Lies have a way of collapsing under the weight of truth. When you refuse to engage in unnecessary conflict, the false narratives created by others will eventually contradict themselves. The enemy who thrives on deception will expose their own schemes when they are not given the fuel of your reaction. Perhaps the greatest proof of silence as a weapon is that it frustrates those who expect a fight. There is nothing more unsettling to an enemy than an opponent who does not react the way they expect. Silence confuses, unsettles, and ultimately weakens those who depend on conflict to stay relevant. The ability to hold your tongue, to walk away from unnecessary battles, and to move in wisdom rather than emotion is what separates the strong from the weak. True warriors understand that sometimes the loudest statement is made in absolute silence. Mastering the art of indirect warfare is one of the most effective ways to defeat your enemies without engaging in unnecessary battles. Most people believe that the only way to win is through direct confrontation, arguing, fighting, proving a point, or overpowering their opposition. However, history has shown that the greatest victories are often achieved through strategy, patience, and precision rather than brute force. Those who understand the power of indirect warfare do not waste their energy fighting battles that do not matter. Instead, they position themselves in such a way that their enemies defeat themselves. One of the key principles of indirect warfare is understanding that every action does not require a reaction. Many people lose battles because they respond impulsively to attacks. They feel the need to defend themselves, to strike back, or to prove their strength. But those who operate with wisdom know that the best way to fight is often not to fight at all. Instead, they let their enemies wear themselves out, make mistakes, and expose their own weaknesses. This approach ensures that victory comes with minimal effort and maximum impact. Another crucial aspect of indirect warfare is controlling the battlefield without being visibly present. This means influencing situations and people in a way that guides the outcome in your favor without direct confrontation. Leaders, strategists, and visionaries understand this concept well. Instead of engaging in open conflicts, they maneuver behind the scenes, shifting circumstances, redirecting energy, and allowing events to unfold in a way that naturally eliminates their enemies. The most skilled individuals in warfare and leadership do not waste their energy trying to destroy their opponents. They simply position themselves in such a way that their opponent's downfall becomes inevitable. Patience is one of the most powerful weapons in indirect warfare. Many enemies self-destruct when given enough time. When you refuse to engage in their tactics, they grow frustrated, reckless, and eventually make costly errors. People who rely on deception, manipulation, or aggression to maintain their power will eventually be undone by their own character flaws. The key is to let time do the work that direct confrontation could never achieve. By remaining steady, focused, and strategic, you can watch as your enemies dismantle themselves without you lifting a finger. Another effective method of indirect warfare is starving the enemy of what they need to survive. Some enemies thrive on attention, conflict, or emotional reactions. By refusing to provide them with these things, you weaken them without engaging in a fight. This is why ignoring certain provocations is often more powerful than responding to them. When you take away an enemy's ability to influence you, you take away their power. They may try harder at first, but eventually they will realize that they cannot control what does not respond to them. The art of indirect warfare is about fighting smarter, not harder. It is about recognizing that not every battle is worth your time, and that true strength is found in the ability to control outcomes without unnecessary struggle. The most powerful victories are those that come with wisdom, patience, and silence, where the enemy is defeated before they even realize they were in a fight. Time and character will expose your enemies. Many people believe that in order to defeat an enemy, they must confront them directly, engage in endless battles, or prove their strength through immediate action. However, one of the most powerful weapons against an enemy is patience. Time has a way of revealing what words and actions often cannot. When you allow time to run its course, people who operate in deception, manipulation, and dishonesty will eventually expose themselves. The truth cannot be hidden forever, and those who build their influence or power on lies will inevitably see their foundation collapse. Character is another force that cannot be hidden indefinitely. A person's true nature always reveals itself over time. No matter how well someone disguises their intentions, their character will eventually betray them. People who pretend to be allies but secretly work against you will reveal their true colors when the pressure is on. Those who build their success through dishonesty and manipulation may rise quickly, but their downfall will be just as swift because they lack the foundation of integrity. The key is not to rush the process. Let people reveal who they truly are, and when they do, you will not have to lift a finger to bring them down. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to force the truth to come out too soon. They feel the need to expose their enemies, to confront them, or to prove their wrongdoing. But those who understand the power of time know that the best way to expose an enemy is simply to wait. Given enough time, people will contradict themselves, their actions will reveal their real motives, and their character will destroy them from within. The person who is patient always wins in the end because they allow the truth to emerge naturally without unnecessary struggle. This principle can be seen in every aspect of life. In business, dishonest leaders may seem successful for a while, but eventually their unethical practices will be exposed. In relationships, people who pretend to be loyal will ultimately show their true nature when they can no longer maintain the act. In personal conflicts, those who spread lies will find themselves trapped by their own words as inconsistencies begin to surface. The most powerful response to an enemy is often to do nothing, to let time and character work against them. When you understand that time and character are your greatest allies, you stop wasting energy on temporary battles. You realize that you do not need to fight to prove yourself because the truth is already working in your favor. While your enemies exhaust themselves trying to bring you down, you remain steady, allowing the inevitable to unfold. This approach not only saves you from unnecessary conflict, but also ensures that when your enemies fall, they do so by their own actions, not yours. The greatest victories are not those won through force, but those won through wisdom, patience, and the unwavering certainty that time always reveals the truth. The greatest revenge is success. Many people waste their lives trying to retaliate against those who have wronged them, constantly seeking ways to fight back, expose, or destroy their enemies. They believe that revenge means proving a point, settling a score, or making sure their enemies suffer as they did. But true power is not found in retaliation. It is found in rising so high that your enemies become irrelevant. The most effective way to defeat those who seek to bring you down is not by stooping to their level, but by elevating yourself so far beyond them that their attacks no longer reach you. When you focus on success, you shift your energy away from negativity and into something productive. Instead of being consumed by resentment, you channel your efforts into growth, achievement, and excellence. This is what truly destroys your enemies, not by attacking them directly, but by proving that they never had the power to stop you in the first place. Nothing frustrates an enemy more than watching someone they tried to break become stronger, more successful, and completely unbothered by their schemes. Many people make the mistake of engaging in battles that only drain their energy. They spend time arguing, defending themselves, or trying to make others see the truth. But the truth is not something that needs to be argued. It is something that reveals itself through results. Success speaks louder than words, and no amount of slander, opposition, or betrayal can silence the undeniable evidence of a person who has risen above it all. Success also exposes the weakness of your enemies. When they see you thriving despite their efforts to stop you, they realize that their power was always an illusion. Those who operate in jealousy, deception, or manipulation feed on reactions. They want to see you struggle, to watch you fall into their traps, and to keep you distracted by their tactics. But when you ignore them and continue to rise, they lose their purpose. They are left watching, powerless, as you achieve everything they try to take away from you. Another reason success is the greatest revenge is that it secures your legacy. While enemies waste their time trying to tear others down, successful individuals build something that lasts. They create businesses, develop skills, inspire others, and leave a mark on the world. In the end, the names of those who build are remembered, while the names of those who destroy are forgotten. Your legacy is not determined by the battles you fought, but by the impact you made. Ultimately, the pursuit of success frees you from the cycle of retaliation. It lifts you above the noise and allows you to live with peace, knowing that your enemies are no longer a concern. The moment you stop seeking revenge and start seeking success, you win the battle without even fighting. The best response to an enemy is to live so well, achieve so much, and grow so strong that their presence becomes irrelevant. That is true victory. In the end, true victory is not won through noise, aggression, or retaliation. It is won through wisdom, patience, and strategic action. The strongest people are not those who fight every battle, react to every insult, or seek to prove their strength through confrontation. They are those who understand that power lies in restraint, in knowing when to act and when to remain still, and in allowing time to expose the truth. Your enemies are not always who they seem to be, and the greatest battles are often fought within. Those who focus on distractions, meaningless conflicts, and temporary emotions will always be controlled by their circumstances. But those who choose silence over argument, strategy over reaction, and growth over revenge will always come out ahead. A person who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. A person who refuses to engage in unnecessary fights cannot be defeated. And a person who rises above negativity through success leaves their enemies powerless. Let your actions, your growth, and your endurance be your response. Do not waste time trying to destroy your enemies. Position yourself so that they self-destruct. Let time and character expose the truth, and let success be your final answer. In the end, the strongest warriors are not those who fight the most, but those who win without ever needing to fight at all. That is the true path to victory.